everyone, Dr. Andrea here. I apologize about that intro. I hit the wrong button. So you was getting the outro versus the intro. Well, anyway, if this is your first time seeing me, my name is Dr. Andrea, and I am the founder of the Kingdom Business Leadership Network, which is a network of kingdom-based entrepreneurs where we practice hearing the voice of God, grow in our prophetic voice, our spiritual gifts, but we also really get tools and education in and around growing our platforms. So if you're an author, speaker, coach, consultant, service provider, any of those things, this might be for you. So there's some more information in the description or in and around this video, and you can find out more about what we're doing. So we are here with our live lesson 53, discovering and defining where your customer lives. And actually, I don't know why I always forget this. I always forget to create my banner, but I'm going to create it now so you guys can have it. So live lesson, 53. If you guys will bear with me for a moment as you come in, say hello. If you are joining the replay, let us know. Just put replay in the chat and we will know that you are here. Discovering and defining where your customer lives. Oh, we're talking all about customer acquisition strategies. And this is one of the things that we're talking about. Let's go back what we talked about. Last time we talked about just the basics of it. So we did a general overview of everything that we're going over this month. So now we're talking about where our customer lives. And then next week, which is the 27th, if you're watching this live, we're going to be talking about strategies to getting customers. And I'm going to actually do 2 live lessons on one day because we skipped a week. Those that know me know that I am in education, and we had our graduation last week. So it was all things that no days off, no nothing. So got very busy with that. And I actually completely did not remember we had it. That's how deep and busy that I was. So anyway, let's jump into this. So when we're talking about discovering and defining where your customer lives, that's saying, where are your customers? Where do you go to find them? So that's where they live. So what are the customer, and the technical term for that is, where are your customer channels? And then we talk about channels, you'll automatically talk about systems. So, we had a whole month on systems. So where do you find, before you can even begin to talk about this, you have to know who your ideal customer client audience is. That is the foundation. You know how we talk about trust in God is the foundation to everything. Trust or faith in God is the foundation of everything in business. Your ideal customer avatar is your foundation for everything. And I've talked about it, but I'll talk a little bit about it more. Always know that it's not everybody. It's not everybody. It's not your audience. Everybody cannot use your service. Maybe it has utility for a lot of different people, but everyone is not going to purchase from you. And that's just the reality. Maybe you're selling some food. You're a caterer. You bake cakes. You cook cupcakes, whatever it is. Yes, everybody can eat it, but not necessarily everybody is your actual customer. And you have to find the people that are attracted to you, your brand, your voice, your anointing. And that takes time. It does. You can have an idea starting off, and there's ways that we've talked about that you can do that in past live lessons. But it's going to take some time. Sometimes you'll start one way and you figure out, it gets more specific or detailed as you continue in what you're doing. So we know it's not everybody. So that's where we need to utilize our demographics and our psychographics. We know demographics are like gender, age, things like that. Whereas psychographics is more attitudes, aspirations, values, and really reasons why people buy what they buy from you. And those are all the things that go into you describing that. So this is something that you're recognizing, you're looking at who is resonating with your message, who is following you. Those are the individuals that are your market. Now, if you're not out there sharing your voice and your message, you need to go all the way back to live lesson 1 because that was market. I think it was marketing your message, or you have a message, something to that effect. You got to go all the way back to that, because how are you going to find your people if you're not saying what God is telling you to say, or saying what's in your heart, speaking what you know, so people know that they can come to you. And some of you guys are doing that very, very well, but always be listening to the voice of the Holy Spirit, because you might need to switch it up here and there, and do some different things. Give some people, I need my water, give some people some variety in what you're doing. And you're going to see, once you start examining the people that connect to you, there's going to be some trends there. And that's how you can, in the beginning stages, obviously, that's how you can locate who your people are. And generally, I hate to admit it, people connect to people that oftentimes look like them, have some of the similar characteristics and things like that. And it's nothing that we can control. And we just have to realize it and go with it. And then there might be some other things that are different. There might be some other things that are different than what you might have thought. And we need to recognize that. So that's why I say it's a process to find your market. So we've talked about, I think I talked about this last year, your 3 M's. Your market is the people you want to talk to. Media is where and how you engage those people. And message is the story that you tell. So when you're saying media, that's social media, radio, print, whatever, how you're engaging this audience. And you got to try different things. I've tried numerous different things, trying to still maintain consistency. But some people, for me, they might engage with me on a podcast, which I'm still trying to get together and consistent with. They might engage with me on a podcast, or something like this, a live stream, or a blog, or a book, whatever, what have you. Where and how do people engage with you? You need to know that. And then you need to know your voice, your message, the story you tell. That's going to attract people. That's going to be the hook. That's going to be the engagement, the message, the story you tell also is going to surround your solution or your offer. So part of, like I said, we're talking about, you need this foundation to discover where your customer lives. Because once you find out or have an inkling of who this person is, you look to see where they live. Where are they? So identify who are, and the first thing I always do, identify who around you is your customer or your ideal customer, or who is connected to your ideal customer. Because really and truly, especially when you're kind of first starting out, your first business people, or your first, unless you're really good at ads, the first people that engage with your brand are typically going to be people you already know. You might not know them well, but you already know. Now, you guys know, I always talk about having a separate brand. Like if we're talking about Facebook, don't just go live on your personal Facebook page. Yes, we love doing that because we get interaction, because it's our family, it's our friends. They already know, like, and trust us. So they'll look and we get more engagement. But you need to start on your business page, because your business page shouldn't be just filled with your family and friends. It should be filled with those people possibly, but also people that are actually interested in your business and what you're servicing them with. So definitely you're going to want to do that. Now you can, and sometimes I do this, it just really depends on how I'm feeling. Some of y'all might, this is your regular, share from your business Facebook page to your personal page. And that's quite all right, because the reality is everybody's going to see it. So it creates brand awareness, but it's going to encourage them to actually go to the business page and like it or do whatever if it's content that they want to see. Because reality is, everybody that's on your friend list is not necessarily your friend. And you find that out very quickly when you are have a business and trying to get people to buy stuff and whatever. Everybody doesn't do that. You learn that early on, because your friends and your family, acquaintances and all that, If that's your whole business model and your business strategy, that gets old within probably 60 days, maybe 90 days if you're older, you got a large amount of friends. Where that's not where we want to stay. That might be where we start, but that's not sustainable, right? That's not sustainable. And there's too many people in this earth, in this world, that need the solution that you carry. So we got to get out of that. But we can identify out of those individuals, our friends and our acquaintances, who out of them is actually your ideal customer, because some of them are, right? And those will be the probably your first few people that will join your Facebook group, that will purchase your book, that will, whatever you got going on. Those are going to be your first few people. And if you're connected to some type of larger platform, like me, I'm connected to a large church, so that helped, because I had a lot of people I engaged with just through that. So you might have that going for you. But some people just have to create their own audience from scratch. And it's tough at first, and that's just what it is. But we all start at zero. We all start there. And a lot of times we see individuals and we think, oh, they have all this interaction and this and that. And we look at them and we compare, but the reality is you're comparing apples with oranges. They've been doing this for 10 years consistently, right? You're comparing apples with oranges, and they might have been at 0 and 1 and 2 and 3 people looking at what they're doing for years. But you don't see those years. I call them the quiet years. You don't see those years. You just see, the aftermath. What happened after they've been doing what they've been doing over and over and over again. So at any rate, we can find our customer firstly by identifying who they are, looking at those closest to you, friends and acquaintances. I don't put family in there because I'm not huge on doing business with family. Sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't. You got to know your family member. But I'm not huge on it. But sometimes it works. Like you all know my sister, Dr. Lauren. I do a lot of stuff with her, right? I've helped her with her books, publishing, helping her with her new book coming out, so we can do that with one another without it being a problem. But that might not be the way it is with you all and some of your family members. So just be really careful when it comes to that. So also to identify and find where your customer lives, one of the easiest ways to do it, if you're on Facebook, even if you're on Instagram, Facebook, it makes it a lot easier. Facebook groups, you can just do searches and put in keywords of things that are in and around what your messaging is, right? If you're speaking to female entrepreneurs, get in some female entrepreneur Facebook groups. And not saying you're poaching people, like you're going in there, because most times they won't let you go in there and advertise. But there's a strategy that you can have with answering questions and just doing different things. So people are gonna want to engage with you because they're like, this person knows what they're talking about. Let me look at their page. Let me look at this. Let me do that, whatever. Because most times in these Facebook groups, you can't necessarily drop links and advertise and put your advertisements and all this up, because you'll be a spammer. And that's not what you want to be. But you do want to provide value. Now, one of the best lead generation, and this is really lead generation, one of the better lead generation things that just came out is Clubhouse. It's open to Androids and it's open to Apple phones as well. And there, I was really strong on that when it first came out, or when I first got wind of it in November, December of last year, and I kind of faded out with it. But every time I go on there, I get leads. People follow my Instagram, people follow me on there, and that's just the way it's set up. Even if you don't open up your own rooms, you can join other rooms and you'll have people to follow you and things. And then at that point, you just have to consistently share your message on there. So that's the same thing. I think YouTube is, I'm just now getting into YouTube. YouTube is an excellent place to find your ideal clients, customers, market. You just have to share your voice, share your knowledge, share your brain, share your skills, what you know, what God has anointed you to do. You have to just tell people and just be you. And the people that need that, they're going to be following you. So Facebook groups. Another place where your customer might live is in a referral. referrals are so really, really good. You almost don't even have to do marketing for referrals because you have a person, and because of the level of work, and maybe not even the level of work, they just know you do this. So they say, I know a person, and it might be you. And that's where your brand awareness comes about, because even if you have a friend or a family member, or I should say friend or acquaintance, not necessarily a family member, but sometimes family member, that knows you do a certain skill. Let's say they know you're a medical doctor. They might send people over to you just because they know you, and they know you as a person, that they know you're a good person. They might not know anything about your work, but they give you a referral. So how often does that happen? People on Facebook, does anybody know a good hairdresser or this or that? And people are just dropping names. And they're dropping names typically of people that they know or they've used their services. So referrals, people will send you people that are your ideal market. So even as we do this, giving you a broad overview, gave you some very simple places where you can look for these people. You have to know your best customer channels. Know where you get most of your customers right now. Even if you have 5 customers, where did they come from? Where did they come from? You need to know that, because you need to know it for yourself. And if you should have some type of mechanism and somewhere in your customer journey where they tell you how they discovered you, where they found you. And in that, you can see, okay, everybody's finding me on Instagram. What do I need to do? So it's like, okay, a lot of people like your content on Instagram. So you double down on that. Maybe do some Instagram ads, do some reels, put more content out on there so that you can generate more interest and more leads. So that's some of the basics. I have some tips, and I'm going to end with this. We have to not be afraid to tell people what we do. And I'm guilty of this as well, where I'm not necessarily saying everything that I do. Like I just started this line of business with writing, content writing for businesses, and also publishing, self-publishing, coaching, and publishing people's books and things. So can't be afraid to tell people that, because you never know what they might need, or they might know somebody that needs a service that you provide. If you're some type of coach, or you provide some type of skill set. I always say, even with coaches, I'm learning this, that is so much better, because coaching is one of those fields, it's just one of those fields that sometimes it takes a little bit of time for people to really resonate with you and understand who you are and what you provide. You might have to find a skill or service, I should say, within that you can actually do. Like I said, I'll give you an example of what I'm doing with self-publishing. I can self-publish, coach people, but I can also provide the service of actually publishing the book, because more often than not, people need both. So you can think about that. I'm thinking about one of our members, Nicole. She does career, executive and career coaching. So a service that she can provide that same audience would need could be a resume critique, resume writing, negotiation, or review, or training, negotiation training. Just different things that same audience would need, but it's a service. And of course, you don't necessarily have to do that service work for a long time, but it is good to be able to do it while you're building your coaching practice. And it's really turning you into a coach/consultant, and that's okay. That is okay, because those same people that are coming for the service will also be interested in some of the other things you do, like the coaching or the programs and things like that. So that's just a different model. And I don't think enough people are utilizing that. They're going straight for, okay, all I'm doing is coaching. And that's fine, but it can take, I'm not saying it does take for everybody, but it can take a little bit of time for people to hook into that or see you in that way. But if you have the service that kind of draws them in, that would be very helpful. That's just my 2 cents. Also depend on the favor of God when it comes to customers and people coming your way. We do not have to do things the typical way like the world does them. We need to depend and look and engage in God's favor and know that it's working for us. And on the other side of that, let God connect you to people. Let God bring them across your path. And they're like, wow, what? Because I had somebody come up to me and ask me, talking about the same publishing, ask me, did I do this? I haven't talked to anybody about this. I don't even have a website nor a Facebook page, right? I have books that I've done myself. So maybe that was it. But in that same way, I believe that was God. Because how in the heck would this person even know to ask me this? So God will work. God will do those things. The next two things are very, very practical. Get out and network. Get out and network in person, because even though we're in a COVID season, we're lightening up because people are getting vaccinated. So you can go out and network. Go out and network in person and online. I love online networking. That's another thing you can do with Clubhouse is online networking in these Facebook groups, online networking. Sometimes you resonate with people. You can do all these things. And then lastly, be ethical, y'all. Please be ethical. You don't want to push somebody in a corner to purchase a product or a service from you. I've seen this so many times when you're selling something and you're direct messaging people, will you buy this from me? Friends and family and things. I'm selling this. Are you interested in this? That is not necessarily the best way to do it. It's just not. Sometimes you kind of want to put the enticing thing out there and let them ask you about it. Because those are what I call guilt sales. You guilt somebody because they're your friend, or whatever. You guilt them into purchasing from you, and those sales don't last. So you're in their DMs, you're in their whatevers, you're in there asking them, can you buy my this? Can you buy my that? And of course, they're not going to be like, no. It might be like, yeah, I'll buy it. I mean, that's people do it all the time, but that, in my estimation, that's not the best way, because then you have people, they start avoiding you. That's almost a that's a network marketing strategy, multi-level marketing, I should say, type strategy, where they tell you, write down all your friends, all the people that would want to buy what you are selling, if it's oils, if it's whatever. So it's a strategy, but then at times you polarize, if that's the word, your relationship with your friends, and it just leaves a bad taste in their mouth about you and your stuff, right? So that's I wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't. So that's all I have for you today. I did pretty good. I only have one page of material, and we are right on time. So now I kind of know. Next week, we're going to be talking about strategies to gain customers, part 1 and part 2. In the mastery group, the paid mastery group, we're talking about customer acquisition strategies, and you are graced for this. Your masterclass probably is going to be posted towards the end of this week, because I'm literally recuperating from everything that's gone on with my work in the last 2 weeks. I've literally not had a break. So yes. So I'm going to probably take a couple of days to get that out before Sunday, or even on Sunday, but you will get it. And then, of course, your other masterclass, your spiritual development one, you're going to get that next week. So we're going into a holiday if you're watching this live, Memorial Day and things, but definitely spend your time resting and refreshing, and working as well as much as you can. So I appreciate you guys for jumping on. I appreciate the replay viewers. If you are just now looking at this, make sure you go back so you can hear the beginning of what we were talking about. So I will talk to you all very, very soon. And let me get to my thing, what I was trying to play at the beginning. Y'all have a great one. Actually, let me take the banner off. Y'all, it's one of them days. Y'all have a great one. Bye.